Okay, hello everyone. My name is Marlo. I am a technical sales specialist at Autodesk Construction Solutions. Today I get to walk you through a live product demo of Building Connected here at Buildings Week. I'm super excited to do so. But I wanted to give some background before jumping into the product because I think it's really important to talk about exactly where Building Connected stands within the Autodesk Construction Solutions portfolio. So looking at this slide I have here, the way that Autodesk is uniquely positioned in the industry that it is that it has solutions that help project teams take that project all the way from design to plan to build and even the operate phases of the projects, right? Now, Building Connected specifically fits into this plan phase here, and even more specifically than that, it fits into the tender management as well as the qualification. Now, I do want to give a warning at this time that I am based in the United States where we say bid management. So if I slip up during the demo and say bid instead of tender, just be aware that I'm saying the same thing, and I apologize if I forget to switch it in my head. But anyway, so there's three products that actually fit underneath the Building Connected umbrella that then follows underneath the Autodesk Construction Cloud. So the three solutions underneath the Building Connected umbrella, and they're all integrated, so it's very seamless, but the first one is Building Connected Pro. Now, Building Connected Pro is a tender management solution for general contractors and commonly owners as well to collaboratively send out their invitations to bid, find subcontractors in new areas, and just overall have that process be as efficient as possible and as effective as possible. TradeTap is a great product to use in tandem with Building Connected Pro. It's a qualification system for general contractors. It's really powerful. It's a lot more than just here's a platform to send out requests for pre-qualification. It will actually help you take that financial data, the safety data, all of that data, and come up with risk mitigation plans when working with those sub-trades. So it's really powerful, and it does integrate with BC Pro. And then lastly, we have Bid Board Pro, which is our solution built specifically for subcontractors. So what this solution allows you to do is have one centralized place to track all of the invitations to tender that you have coming in, even if they're not building connected. It doesn't matter. It's your one place to track all of the opportunities that your company has, assign them out to estimators, track your win rates, and just be as, again, efficient and effective as possible with that part of your process. Now, the thing that's really important about all three of these solutions is that they're all built up of the builders network within Building Connected. So it's all built off that network that Building Connected is known for. Due to time restraints today, I'm going to be specifically walking through Building Connected Pro and Bid Board Pro, and then just talking a little bit about how TradeTap interacts with BC Pro, so Building Connected Pro. But if at any point you want to learn more about any of these solutions, just go to buildingconnected.com where you can request a live demo with an account manager or just read a little bit more about it. Because again, we only have a little bit of time today, so we'll just be scratching the surface of the possibilities within these solutions. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and jump into the product. Okay, so here I am. I am currently in the BC Pro solution, so Building Connected Pro solution, which I remind you is for general contractors and owners. Now, I'm also going to be jumping into the bid board side of things, which is the subcontractor side, but you can see they're actually in the same account. So you can have one company using both solutions, which is typical for maybe a larger firm, an MEP firm, where you kind of act as the prime, but you're also tracking invites coming in. Concrete companies might commonly, need to bid out to vendors or subs. Any company that needs both solutions absolutely can use both, and I'll talk about the integration in a bit. But looking at our BC Pro side of the system here, it's really easy to use. So this is where I think it differentiates itself from a lot of the other solutions out there, is that it's just extremely easy to use. It's very intuitive for you to get invites out the door and start getting responses back so you can start leveling out those bids. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to jump into a project that's already been bid out to show you the overall format of Building Connected Pro and how it's going to look on our end. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into Menlo College here. So you can see when you jump into a project that you've already published out, you're going to have a really high-level overview of the coverage of your project currently. So I can quickly see with all my bid packages here how my coverage is doing, right? So it looks like with concrete, I've gotten 12 bids back, which is pretty good. So I probably don't need to spend follow-up efforts on that bid package. But maybe when it comes to masonry, I've only gotten one bid back. So I should go in and do follow-ups, or I can go in and maybe add new sub-trades if it's a busy season or my go-to guys aren't available. It could be good to go ahead and add more sub-trades into that bid package. Which brings me to a second point within Building Connected. If I go ahead and I jump into any of these bid packages here, you might be wondering how these even get created in the first place. So there's 3 different ways for you to add sub-trades into your bid packages here in Building Connected Pro. So if I go ahead and hit invite bidders in the upper right-hand corner, and again, usually you'd be doing this when you create a project, but we're in one that's already created. So I'm just gonna kind of walk through how it would have been created in the first place, or as you can add supplemental coverage as the project goes on. But you can see the first option is going to take you to the Building Connected network. And Building Connected truly is known for its network because it's innately built differently than a lot of other so-called construction networks out there. And I'm gonna explain why. So first of all, when I'm looking at this project here and I'm pulling in from the Building Connected network, this is a smart network. So when it's telling me subcontractors that are suggested to me, it's actually using smart data to tell me the ones that are most likely to respond back to my invitations. Let me explain how that works. So when I created this bid package, I went ahead and I said this is masonry and masonry restoration, and the project's in Atherton, California. So automatically what the system's doing when it pulls in on the network is that it's gonna be giving me the most active subcontractors in that area for that scope of work. So it's not just gonna be listing out subs that claim they do that work in that area, which might not always be the most accurate results. Instead, it's using data to give you the most active subcontractors for that trade in that area, which will really make sure that you're not wasting your time reaching out to subs that might not work in that, and you have the best resources available to you to reach out to. Now you can filter down our network by a bunch of different things: union, non-union, enterprise type. And you can see one way here where TradeTap, our qualification system, integrates with BC Pro, where if you were using both, you'd be able to filter down by qualified and qualified with exceptions, for example, in order to get that qualification data in your bid management solution as well, and make sure those teams are on the same page. Now, another way that the Building Connected network is different than a lot of other solutions out there is the fact that it is constantly updated with fresh contact information. It's a live network, it's not a static database. So what I mean by that is typically a lot of general contractors are keeping a list of subcontractors and their go-to vendors on some sort of maybe Excel sheet today, or whatever it is, it's a siloed database. So what that means for your team, and I'm sure all of the general contractors on the line can resonate with this, is that you have to make sure that that's constantly kept up to date. So if someone leaves the company, you need to go in and make sure that that's changed. If someone's phone number changed or email changed, it's up to you guys to keep that up to date, which is nearly impossible, right? There's so much turnover in construction, and you might have these huge long lists, and it makes it so when you are going out to send your invites, you could be getting a lot of bounce back emails and just spending time making sure the invites are getting to the right person. So that's where Building Connected can be very different. Because it's based on a network, how it works is each of the companies within Building Connected, let's use Hunt Masonry as our example, have one account in Building Connected on our network. So just for an example, if I click on their account here, I can go ahead and see their company information. So let's just say, for example, here, John Hunt, and your twice, but John Hunt, let's just say his phone number changed or something about it changed, or maybe he no longer works here, whatever it might be. Here's the thing, because Hunt Masonry only has one account, if something about their profile changes and they come into the Building Connected network, where probably a huge amount of their general contractors are already using BC Pro, he can go ahead and change his phone number, and that will automatically update for the entire network. So that means he doesn't have to reach out to all of his GCs and say, hey, here's my new number, here's my new estimator's email. Because realistically, he's not going to do that. And that's what's causing those Excel sheets to really get out of date. Whereas if someone only has one account for them to update, it's going to automatically make it so anyone they work with will have the most accurate contact information, making your processes more efficient. And on top of that, not only does he have his own account that he can update, even if he doesn't, any account that's interacting with Hunt Masonry, for example, can come in and suggest an edit and say, you know, John no longer works here, this is the wrong email, and update that. The power of that is that, again, Building Connected, we're the most widely used system in North America for bid management. So we have a lot of people interacting on the system. And when you think about these types of suggested edits, there's thousands of these happening a day. So all of the contacts within our network are constantly being updated with fresh contact information, whether it's them doing it or a suggested edit or whatever it might be. You're constantly getting that fresh contact information and saving a lot of time in the long run trying to maintain a static database. Now, any suggested edit you make won't automatically update the profile. Of course, we double check, have our support team check, and have the company confirm, but it's still a way to constantly be making sure that we're getting up to date on the contact information of our partner companies. Okay, and the reason I wanted to go into so much detail about that on the BC Pro side is, again, because that's really where this system differentiates, is that we have a really smart network that it's built up on and eventually gives you the best coverage, but also saves you a lot of time. Now, the other ways you can add in subcontractors are, one was by the network, or you can import. And this is actually where you'll save a lot of time as well. So within your BC Pro account, you can have save bidder list templates, where you can say, these are my go-to Vancouver subcontractors for electrical work, and have that saved in a template. Or these are my go-to tenant improvement people. So it could be by market sector, it could be by location, it could be by whatever it might be. But at any point, someone on your team or yourself can pull from those templates and say, you know what, I'm working on another Starbucks in the city just a few miles down. I'm just going to use the same subs and pull in from the same bid packages, right? Or if maybe, again, this new apartment complex, I'm working on another one and I want to bring in the same flooring people, I can do that. So you can actually either import from a template that you've saved in here, or from a previous project, if the previous project you just want to carry them over. But the importing is making it so you're not starting from scratch every time, and everyone on the team has these templates they can pull from in order to get a project out the door in honestly less than 10 minutes as you get used to the system. And then lastly, of course, you can add some contractors by email just by copying and pasting in. But that's how your bid packages start to come together. And you can even import multiple bid packages at a time. But then as numbers start coming back to you, you'll receive emails, and they're naturally going to go from low to high, and then to the people that have marked bidding but haven't gotten back to you yet with a number, to undecided to not bidding. On each individual company, you can go in and go ahead and look, call them and leave any notes, or look at a history of when they had a chance to view addendum number 3, just to make sure that they've seen the most recent, and just have that audit there for you. So it's all very easy to use. Also within BC Pro, when you're sending out invitations to bid, you have the ability to not only ask for a lump sum cost, but if you want to standardize the data that's coming back from your sub-trades for specific scopes of work, you can ask for a line item breakout. So just for example, if I jump into my demolition bid package here and I'm in the bid form, this is an example of me standardizing how I want these numbers back. This example was by floor, but you can really break it out however you want. So as subs start sending you numbers back, you can really be confident that you're comparing those numbers apples to apples instead of apples to bananas, right? And all of that will also flow into the capability of actually leveling your bids from within the system. So as the numbers come back, automatically we're going to put them side by side so you can compare them and even start to create plugs, right? If you asked for inclusions and someone said they didn't include something, and now you want to add in the cost that you think it's going to be just to actually see what their most accurate number is, again, you can come in and start plugging these, so that way you're looking at the best option to put on that job. When you create a plug number, that's what this color is, and you can even leave a note on, why you made that plug or whatever it might be, where you got that number from. And this is also where trade tap data, the qualification system, can integrate within your BC Pro solution. If I scroll down to the bottom here, There we go. This one doesn't have any, but you can see if this company was using Trade Tab, all of the qualification status, internal backlog, EMR information, all that information would automatically be here. So when you're leveling out and looking at your numbers, you have that to reference as well. Okay, so I'm going to just jump back out here. We got a little in the weeds on one specific bid package, but those are some really powerful features within the building connected system that can really automate workflows and streamline and make sure you're being as efficient as possible. So again, looking at my bid packages here within BC Pro, I will also have a place to message out to all of my subcontractors. Maybe I want to just message out to the people who are undecided and say, hey, are you going to bid this? You can easily chop up who you want to send to. Your file section will house all of your files. And of course, your basic information will just be like project name and such. You'll also see that in BC Pro, you have reporting functionalities, as well as you'll have a lot of powerful analytics over here on the bottom left on this black strip. This is going to give you some great data, such as your win rates by maybe market sector or by client. It'll give you some numbers on your relationships with your subcontractors and vendors in your contacts tab. Just so much information to help you look at these processes with a more strategic eye and make data-driven decisions moving forward. Okay, now if I go back to projects, we just went into one specific project, but this is my overall project view where I could see every project that I'm on, as well as my team, and so on and so forth. Okay, so again, I just scratched the surface with what's possible in BC Pro. There's a lot more to it, and as you get the hang of it, you'll get a project out really quick. But now I want to jump into the BidBoard Pro solution. Now, BidBoard Pro, as I mentioned, is the solution that we built for subcontractors because what we found was the industry standard way of tracking invites coming into your company tended to be like an Excel sheet or a whiteboard, something that was very manual and very error-ridden. So things could slip through the cracks, and they did commonly. Or two estimators started bidding the same job, so which is a waste of resources. There were all these issues happening because the only way to track invites coming in were very manual. Whether it's an Excel sheet or a CRM, it's all super manual. And when you're receiving a lot of invites and have a lot of other things on your plate, like actually estimating jobs or following up, you don't have time to keep an Excel sheet or a CRM up to date. So what BidBoard did is it creates an automated way of getting all your invitations to bid into one centralized system for your team to collaborate on. So this is your central source of truth of what is every opportunity that's undecided in my company, that's accepted and we need to get out the door, and that's submitted and we need to follow up on. Okay, so automatically your team on BidBoard Pro is going to have a team-wide view of all invites coming from Building Connected, which is a huge benefit, right? A lot of your GCs have also invested in this solution. So on your end, if you invest in this solution, a lot of your data automatically lives in here because you're on that same centralized Building Connected platform. Only you can see your bid board though. No one else can see your bid board, which I think is really important to mention. Now on your bid board, you automatically have all of your Building Connected ones, but I want to talk a bit about how you get those outside invitations to bid into the system. So it's actually as easy as forwarding an email. So the rule for your team would simply be, hey, if you receive a Building Connected invite, you don't have to worry about it. It's automatically in our tracking system, which is BidBoard Pro. But if you receive something that comes from another software, you know, all of them out there, there's SmartBidNet, Procore, iSquareFoot, LandHub. There's so many different solutions that send out invites now. But anytime you get one from a different solution or just a direct email saying, hey, can you bid this with a Dropbox link or something, all you have to do is forward that into the email address, invites@bidboard.buildingconnected.com. Or to spell it wrong. Perfect. Now, when you do that, we have a smart technology that in a matter of seconds can scrape that invitation to bid. It'll associate the email who's sending it with their account. Sorry. So everything that you forward in is completely private and secure to your own company. And then if I go into an example of one of these, you can see the entire body of that email also comes in. So everything you need to reference is automatically going to come into your account here with the ease of forwarding an email. So no one has to spend their time forwarding it to one person. That one person looks through their inbox, makes sure there's not duplicates, puts it in an Excel sheet. You would just have the entire team forward to bid board. You'd automatically pick up on the due date, the name, the body of the email with any links that might exist in there, just by forwarding an email. And everyone already knows how to forward an email. So I truly think it's the easiest solution to start implementing, and with great return very quickly if you do find things kind of slip through the cracks with your team. It will also pick up on duplicates. So if two of your team members try to forward in the same invite, it'll tell the second person, hey, it's already in here. So this can be a really quick look into everything coming in real time. So then everything filters to this undecided tab here, where as you have opportunities, and you might do this in a team meeting, you might do this, you might have a VP of pre-con in charge of this, you might have a senior estimator in charge of this. It depends on your internal workflows, but whoever's in charge of looking at your opportunities and saying, yes, we're gonna bid this, no, we're not, and then this is the estimator that's going to work on it, will be in charge of the undecided tab, or the whole team can just jump in here. Again, it just depends. But all you have to do is, if you want to hit bidding, you would hit, I'm going to bid this one, and then the system's going to prompt you to assign a user off to it. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and assign Jenny off to this one and say, this is on you. I'm going to have you work on this one. And then I can even set a priority. This is one of our go-to clients. It's really important that we do this one on time and we get started on it sooner rather than later. So once I hit save, those will filter to the accepted tab, where you can see this is everything we've committed to get out the door. Then it's going to say who's working on it, and then when is it due. So it's a very clear look, and usually this is what mimics people's Excel sheets for a look at what's currently needs to get out the door. Okay, so you can see this is what it looks like, and as you are collaborating, so maybe you have multiple people working on it together, or again, a senior estimator wants to leave a note as they're assigning it out, you can always collaborate on these comments. Do you think you'll have the bandwidth to get this done? And anytime someone leaves a comment, it will time and date stamp when they left that, and you can continue to centralize your communication in one spot so people know where to reference it, opposed to these getting lost in emails or whatever it might be. Okay, so then you'll continue to move it through the system. I'm going to keep it pretty high level from here on out, but I think the forwarding motion is the most powerful part of BidBoard Pro, because it just makes the rest of it so easy as well, and it just automates the process in a way that's never been done before in the industry. But then you can submit all your bids through the system or log them all in here, and you'll have a list of your bid history and what you need to follow up on, and you can set outcomes as won, lost, whatever happened. Then all of that is going to also filter to these pro tools up here. And these are just simply built off what's going on in your bid board. So you really don't have to do too much in these tabs. But the calendar, it tends to be a lot of people's favorite aspect of Pro, because it's so convenient to see your due dates on a calendar view when you can really visualize your team's workload to come. So you can say, okay, the week of the 30th, Dustin has one bid due, but Zach has 2 bids due. So if I have a new invite that's due this week, I'm going to allocate it to Dustin because he has a little bit more time on his hands. And it just helps individuals just manage their time and know what bid they want to start on sooner rather than later, to make sure you get as many bids out as possible and not have to rush them and potentially make a mistake. This calendar is great. You can also sync this up with your Outlook or Gmail with just like 2 clicks and it's done. So really convenient. Now, the second part of BidBoard Pro is all about, just like how BC Pro had analytics, so does BidBoard Pro. So BidBoard Pro, for subcontractors, it's going to give you analytics on your win rates with your different GCs, which is really powerful to go ahead and tell you what relationships you should prioritize and which relationships maybe it's not worth your estimating hours anymore. But a big advantage to these analytics, even though you might run them today, you might not, but these are just automatically done for you. No one has to write the formulas. It's not dependent on manual entry. It's just dependent on tracking on the bid board. And then you can come in and see, okay, with McCarthy, I bid this many jobs. With this company, I bid this many jobs. And if you scroll over, a big thing here is your win rates. So you can see your win rates with all of your GCs. So you can prioritize if you have an influx of invites coming in, I want to prioritize the one with maybe Ryan companies because I have a higher win rate than I do with Hathaway, so I want to prioritize that one. These numbers are a little skewed because it's my demo environment, but you get the idea and how you can leverage these insights to make data-driven decisions and overall increase your company's win rate and overall revenue using these types of analytics. Okay, so there's more analytics within BidBoard Pro. You can see win rates by estimator, your win rate as a company, and then run custom reports on your data. So just to see everything you lost in 2019 or every healthcare building you worked on in the last 6 months. You can slice and dice it however you'd like. That's the reportings tab that's just completely customizable into how you want to look at your data. But the last thing I want to touch on with you guys today is, again, how integrated these solutions are. So I already talked about how TradeTap integrates with BC Pro a little bit, but a really important aspect as well for our MEP firms out there, or again, any subcontractor that needs to go out and get numbers from smaller subs or vendors, can utilize the integration between BidBoard Pro and BC Pro and actually use both of our solutions to streamline those processes onto one system. And the whole idea of Autodesk Construction Cloud is connected construction, right? Take your project through different phases, but have them in the same data environment so you're not losing information or losing efficiency by taking them to different solutions. So just as an example here, you'll see I have the ability to come in to any opportunity I'm working on. And if I want to create a project from that, I can automatically push this from my bid board. So I was invited by great builders, but now I need to go bid this out to my subs or vendors to get numbers before I can get my estimate together. If I hit create a project, it's going to automatically create a project in here in BC Pro, which we went through before, and allow you to get invites out to your subs or vendors and then come back here and submit your estimate. While we're talking about integrations, just a quick note, you can see we can also push to PlanGrid. PlanGrid is another Autodesk Construction Cloud software. So if you're a PlanGrid user, huge benefit to use either of our solutions is the seamless flow from pre-construction bid management to the project management or field productivity aspect of PlanGrid. But overall, that's kind of what I wanted to go through with all of the solutions. As I mentioned, this was a very high-level demonstration of all three of the products. I didn't even go into TradeTap, but I think we went through the base value adds of BC Pro as well as BidBoard Pro. As I mentioned earlier, if you guys want to learn more about these, just go to buildingconnected.com, read through it. There's a ton of videos on there, or you can request a live demo with your account rep. But I want to thank you so much for your time, and I really hope that you enjoy the rest of Buildings Week. Thanks so much.